more to go. It'll be the mini class that heads out next, and after that some slightly longer superheats to kick us off as well. 10 minutes plus 1 lap. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm looking at the wrong timetable. Well done, John. Good effort there. Of course, we've been 11 minutes plus 1 lap. My apologies for the previous 2, and that'll be the same for the minis. And then we'll be on to the slightly longer superheats for the juniors and the seniors and the masters. 13 minutes plus 1 lap. For those two, then into the driver's presentation, and then the finals to come later on this afternoon. So as we wait for the drivers to finalise their session and head back into pit lane, I will say the rain has really picked up again here at K&A Varna. You can really see it on the cameras out there. Look at the rain falling here in Norway. It is absolutely biblical here in Northern Europe. And the drivers really have their work cut out for them, not only to try and get a good result out there, but honestly, just to keep it on the track, I think is an achievement in and of itself, really, in these sort of conditions. Of course, the drivers are on wet tyres, which will give them a little bit more grip, but it's still going to be rather slippery. You can see there, though, drivers getting ready to go in the dummy grid, and look at that. Not even a break. Lovely and quick turnaround there between the cadettis and the minis, and straight out on circuit they go. And there is your grid on the screen then for the 3rd superheat of this weekend's event. And once again, a familiar face there lining up on pole position. Ole Alexander Sørli Smistad. Well, he's already won a superheat so far today. He'll be looking to make it 2 from 2 here as we head into racing action in our mini class. That is actually not the grid that's on your screen. That's not what I've got here on my laptop. So it is Espen Moe who lines up alongside the 197 on the front row of the grid. Adrian Mikkelsen and Jakob Ovlenberget there on row number 2. Christopher Melhus and Jenny Nordvang on row 3. They'll be followed by Marcus Alberg and Shelley Sandy on row number 4. Then Philip Bakkegaard and Oliver Christiansen Kampelien on row 5. They round out the top 10. Then followed by Berk, Brandset, Bendiksvold and Daniel Stolen on row 6. And rounding out the grid, Christian Bjorgen there on P13 and all alone there on row number 7. Right then, drivers, they've had their singular warm-up lap here in the mini class, and let's see if we can get this race underway. First time of asking. 4 red lights are on the gantry. Let's see if we can go racing here in the minis. We do! Lights go out, down to the first couple of corners we go! Can the 197 hold on to the lead early on in this one? It's all chopping and changing at the front, trying the up and under there to steal away the lead. Sørli Smistad gets forced out wide, but he will hold on to it. Up the bridge they go. Brilliant bit of racing action between the boys and girls at the sharp end of this one. And all flirting with grip there. It's all getting a bit closer comfort there through the left-hander. One driver losing a bit of speed. Luckily getting a little bit of a push from the driver in behind him. Keeps those revs up and holds onto the position as they head through down into the second part of this lap. What a start it's been for Adrian Mikkelsen. He's up 4 positions already in this race, and he is hounding the back of your race leader. Adrian Mikkelsen was super impressive out there on circuit yesterday. Adrian, of course, your winner in the mini final at the IAME Nordic Cup last year in 2024. He's looking to do the same again here in 2025, but he has got some serious competitors out there battling alongside him. But it's ever so slightly faster on that first lap from the race leader. Setting the pace early on here, and it's been a bit slidey there through the first section. Might be a loss of second place here for Mikkelsen. He dives to that inside line. Shows that he is more than happy to defend there on Jakob Ovlenberget as he stays there in 3rd place. Can't find a way through, and that really benefits your race leader of Ole Alexander Sørli Smistad. He tries to pull away here, and it's got around a 4 or 5 kart length gap now as they head down into the heavy braking right-hander. Of course, the difficulty of that corner you're now seeing on your screens is the optimum line, as shown perfectly by our mini drivers, is heading right out wide there, as that was a big slide into the left-hander for the 144. Loses a little bit of time as they head through to the end of lap number 2. As I was saying, though, that wide line is the optimum line to go, but at that point, you're really flirting with that gravel trap that's on the outside of the corner. So if you get it slightly wrong, ever so slightly outbrake yourself, you're going to go over the edge of the circuit where you wanted to be, straight into the gravel, and especially on a wet day like this, that's not something you're going to drive out of particularly quickly. You're going to get quickly and easily beached out there, and that will be race over. So every single lap you are flirting with a DNF as you head down that downhill braking zone. But all the drivers driving a lot better than I would be in these conditions. They're all continuing on through this race. Sadly, it looks as though we didn't see Jenny Nordbank take to the start in this one. Of course, she qualified in second place yesterday, so definitely one of the drivers that you would be pipping to be right up near the sharp end here across the Superheats and the finals. I think it was 2 P6 finishes, if I remember correctly, for Jenny Nordbank yesterday. Sadly, though, clearly something going awry, whether that's to do with her or to do with the car, I'm not sure, but she did not make it to the start of this race. Lots of different lines being taken. That was a lovely up and under out the final corner for the 176. Brilliant overtake there from Philip Bakkegaard. He's up 5 places so far in this race. Philip clearly enjoying these type of conditions as he cuts his way through the pack. Daniel Stollen it was who he relegated down into P8. But it is still Adrian Mikkelsen. They're in second place again. Those two I was mentioning earlier still squabbling there. Philip Bakkegaard and Marcus Alberg. I think it might have been Alberg that he actually ended up overtaking there on that time around. Daniel Stollen now down to 8th position. But Mikkelsen on the last lap, new fastest lap of the race, a 101.339 for Adrian Mikkelsen. And he has visibly closed that gap to your race leader. The 197 will still lead us here onto lap number 4, but with a much less of a margin. 0.3 of a second as they come across the line. On the last lap, it was a purple sector 1 for Adrian Mikkelsen. Let's see if he can do it again here on this lap. It was purple sector 3, though, for Jakob Oblenberger, as he tries to stay within touching distance of those top 2, but they continue to scamper off. Well, to answer my earlier question, yes, Adrian Mikkelsen can continue on with those purple sectors. He sets another purple sector 1. Sadly, though, we've had a driver off into the barriers down at the final corner. He's up and out of the car, he's absolutely fine, but out of this race. And I'll wait and see when they come across the line this time to double check who that is, but it looks like potentially Christian Bjørgen there, who is out of the race just after he was battling so well with Philip Bakkegaard and Marcus Alberg. Potentially there may be a bit of contact, or maybe just losing a bit of grip off out into the barriers he went. Either way, however it started, it ended with him in the barrier. Adrian Mikkelsen, yet another fastest lap of this race, but it was only 700ths quicker than Ole Alexander Thurley-Smithstad, so he's got the overall pace, has Adrian Mikkelsen, but it's not quite quick enough to 1, get close enough to think about a move, or 2, make that move. But we tick over half race distance in this one then. Oh, close and close enough, just about ticking down to it now then, as I can see the clock on the gantry just ticking to below 5.5 minutes in this one. Great battle I can see still from 5th place downwards. We've got 3 drivers all in the train. The 110 of Christopher Melhus, Philip Bakkegaard on the 176, Marcus Alberg on the 162. So that's Philip and Marcus continuing to charge on through the pack and trying to make the move here down to the left hand. He's gone for it late on the brakes. Great overtake there into the left-hander. They'll be side by side as they head through down into the final corner. But up and under goes Christopher Melhus. Great reading of the situation there from Christopher. Retakes the position, loses all 3 of them a little bit of time as they head down to the first corner yet again. It's really not far back then to the 162 of Marcus Alberg, who's being followed closely by Daniel Stollen, and Oliver Christiansen Campelien right in with them as well. There were those 6 as they head up and over the bridge yet again, thinking about the moves, but Christopher remaining firm there on the 110, but look at that, inside line potentially being snatched here. Big send down the inside under the bridge, gets the grip on the outside of the circuit. Lovely move, and up to 5th place goes Philip Bakkegaard. Brilliant, brilliant, committed, confident overtake there from Philip, and he moves his way up into the top 5. Now, don't worry, guys watching the live stream. I will be keeping my eyes on the top two. Don't you worry. But let's keep watching on the live stream this battle between 5 different drivers out here in the minis. It's absolutely awesome to see these guys and girls nip and tuck here around the circuit. As highlighted there at the bottom of your screen, new fastest lap though for the race leader, 197. Ole Alexander Surly-Smithstad now down into the 101s, a 101.187. Of course, they've been in the 101s for ages, John. What are you on about? Down into the 101.1s, I should have said. A 101.2 for Adrian Mikkelsen was his personal best on the last lap, but ever so slightly off of the pace set there by your race leader. They continue to gap the rest of the field. It's now about 3 seconds back to third place of Jakob Odlenberget. But after making that move, Philip Bakkegaard starting to pull away from the rest of the chasing drivers. Philip clearly really enjoying these soggy conditions here. Playing into his strengths as he continues on around the rather damp circuit. Well, Daniel Stolum under pressure from Oliver Christensen Campanian as well. They will line astern as they head over the start-finish line yet again. There were those 2 race leaders nose to tail. I will say Adrian Mikkelsen, hold on a second, I was about to say he's in striking distance. He's made the move. Adrian Mikkelsen is into the lead of the race. That must have been down through the first couple of corners then. We've missed that. Apologies. You can blame me for that one, live stream crew. I told you to look away from it. I did not think that Mikkelsen was close enough to think about a move. I thought it would have been way too treacherous to try and go for it. But look at this. They're squabbling now as Surly-Smithstad looks to find a way back through. Down to the left-hander we go. You can see Adrian leaning over that front of the car, trying to pitch his weight over the wheels that he wants to get the grip on. Up and under goes Surly-Smithstad. They're side by side across the line. Surly-Smithstad would have had the inside line there down into the first couple of corners. Can't quite get the exit speed that Mikkelsen had and has to sit in behind for now. What a brilliant race we're getting here in the minis. I was worried we might see huge gaps forming across all of the classes out there today, and the racing action might not be quite as exciting as it was yesterday. Well, they're certainly proving me wrong here in the minis. This is brilliant battling for the lead of the race. Through they continue on, about a minute and a half left to go in this one. Now, similarly to the junior 60s, the 197 of Surly-Smithstad has been dominant so far this weekend. Pole in qualifying, a win in both of the qualifying heats. But look at this, maybe Mikkelsen will upset the party here as he leads us through onto what is going to be maybe the penultimate lap. It's going to be close in terms of timing, whether we get 2 or 3 more laps of this one. But we shall wait and see. Now, it was a difficult qualifying session for Adrian Mikkelsen. Given that he was your champion in 2024, I don't think you'll mind me saying that 6th place wasn't the ideal starting position for him, but he was able to fight back through in the 2 qualifying heats. A 2nd place in Heat 2, a 3rd place in Heat 3. But this is looking to, hopefully for him anyway, be his best result of the weekend. He goes wide under the bridge though. Almost an opportunity there for Surly-Smithstad. He had a little sniff there at the inside line on the exit, but of course less grip down there on the inside line. Couldn't quite get the power down, was slipping and sliding through the exit, and Mikkelsen holds on to the lead. There he goes down the inside. Oh, sticking the nose in yet again is Ole Alexander Surly-Smithstad, but again can't quite get through. I think this will be the last lap. Yes, it will. Last lap board is out then. 1,030 metres to go, and Adrian Mikkelsen has got the heat on him. Looking for the move already into the first corner. Aggressive from the 197. Trying the up and under. Has he got it? He's almost got the inside line. They're side by side on the exit. Back to the lead goes Ole Alexander Surly-Smithstad. Beautiful overtake there. Over the bridge they go. Sends Adrian Mikkelsen to the outside line, and he'll go for the up and under now. What brilliant racing between these 2 drivers. Chopping and changing on the last lap. Under the bridge they go. Surly-Smithstad can't get the inside line, and Mikkelsen holds onto the lead for now. Now, how aggressive are they going to be in this one? Of course, it's all the points that add up to the starting position in the final. I think Surly-Smithstad will still have that, but he'll want his perfect weekend. in both classes. Looks to the inside line, he's gone for it. Late on the brakes, made contact and round goes Adrian Mikkelsen on the final time of asking. He's going to drop to at least third place here, potentially even fourth. Round the final corner comes early Alexander Sturley-Smistad to win on the road, but the stewards might have something to say about that one. Of course, there's a lot less grip, but what a race we had there through the last couple of laps. Nip and tuck between the two drivers at the sharp end, and sadly ending not how we want to see any race end there, with Sturley-Smistad going for the aggressive move to the inside. The space was left there from Mikkelsen. However, Sturley-Smistad couldn't get it slowed down fast enough. Just had the lightest of touches on the rear left of Adrian Mikkelsen's car, but that was enough to unsettle it, send him into a spin. He did really well to get that kart going again and drive back through to third position. It was Jakob Overlenberger who inherited that second place. So if the 197 does get a penalty, the win might actually end up going to Jakob in that one. But like I say, that's far above my pay grade, and that is a job for people far more knowledgeable than I am. I'll simply tell you what's happened out there on circuit at the time, and it is the 197. Alexander Sturley-Smistad who wins Superheat number 1 in the minis. Second place then goes to Jakob Overlenberger, like I say, and Adrian Mikkelsen there in third place. What a battle it was though for Adrian, showing his true colours here on day number 2 and looking to defend his crown here in the mini class at the IAME Nordic Cup. Esmond